Hi all, right, welcome back to more Space Empires 4X, playing the AP bot. This is part 5. Okay, I'm hoping to get a couple of parts done today. Fingers crossed. Right, 2 or 3 things to talk about, and we might need to rewind. Yeah, I was sort of wanting to challenge this a bit, but I think I agree with us, and so I may need to rewind a little bit. It shouldn't affect anything, to be honest. In fact, when I say rewind, I don't think I'm going to alter anything I've done. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So, yeah, 3 comments to talk about. 1 from Ramon, the other 2 from Tim. Yeah, Ramon's commented saying apparently there are 2 types of homeworld in the All Good Things version, a 20 CP and a 30 CP one. Which I was aware of, and I read about that in the rules. He says in the solo and competitive scenarios, it tells you to use the 30 CP version. Well, I think it's meant yeah, that's wrong. It's solo and co-op scenarios, but I think that's what he means. So in the solo and co-op scenarios, it tells you to use the 30 CP version. It does tell you that in the rules. He says, I do not know whether it really matters that you use a 20 CP homeworld when using the AP bot rules. Well, in the rules, it does say that you use the 30 CP one for the solo and co-op scenarios unless it states otherwise in the scenario instructions. Well, there is a couple of the scenarios where, like the alien player scenarios, that do say in the instructions to use the 21 rather than 31. Admittedly, the AP bot instructions, it doesn't tell you which one to use, but however, you're not tied down to any scenario. You can use any kind of scenario with it. So I'm using one of the 2-player scenarios, and in the 2-player scenario rules, you'd be using the 20 CP one. So I think we should still be using the 21, but I see his point, and I think he's not sure as well. But definitely it is highlighted that the other versions of the solo game, like if I was playing the previous scenario, the Alien Empire one, using the All Good Things rules and scenarios, no, it'd still be 20, wouldn't it? Because it says 20 in that one. But if you look at the other scenarios, if it doesn't say 20, it's going to use the 31. I'm going to stick with the 21. I think it's still right to be doing that, but I could be wrong. But I looked on BGG as well, just to see if anybody had maybe asked us or not, and it didn't seem to be. I mean, it'd be more beneficial for me because I'd be getting an extra 10 points every economic phase, and it'd take them longer to destroy my home planet, I suppose. If it comes out of that, where they're attacking that, I don't think that matters. But an extra 10 points every economic phase is pretty big. But so we'll err on that side of assuming that it should still be 20. But if anybody's got confirmation that should be 30, then by all means let me know, because I'm missing out there. But thanks for the comment anyway, Ramon. Right, so Tim's comments, and these are all from part 2. I think I've got part 3 out there as well, have I? Or maybe I haven't yet. No, I don't think I have, actually. Because I've done 3 and 4 now, haven't I? Yeah, this is 5. Did I say 4? I think this is 5. Okay, so 11 minute 55 sec. Right. This is where I'm going to have to rewind. All this confusion about Econ Phase 5, the movement turns, this track up here, and this is just such a... Why they didn't have the turns before the actual economic phase. That's the way it goes. I mean, okay, I'm about to talk about Tim's comments, but this is the sequence of play. The first thing you do... Right, okay, well, actually, and this is what Tim's highlighted, actually, the first thing you do is determine player order. Okay. That's a one-off thing at the very beginning of the game, and to be honest, I don't think that should be there. Well, 7.4. Because then you bid for player order, and that's within the economic phase. Which is... Sorry. If we're looking at steps here, right? Step A is determine player order. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get this up. I want to look at the new rules for this to see if it's any different. Right, so in the new rules, the sequence of play is the same. I'm stretching across the computer here. In fact, I wonder if I can just make that a little bit bigger so I might go, right, hang on, bear with me. Sorry. Yeah, I should be able to see it now. So it says, the only difference is, it says A, for this phase A, or whatever you would term this, phase A, determine player order, and it's got in brackets on the new rules, first turn only, because that's what I thought. This only happens on the very first turn, because then the turn order is found within this step. Where is it? This step here, bid for player order, which is in phase E, which is in the economic phase. So you do this one, just the first turn only, and then your normal sequence of play after that is B, which is turn 1, and then each player has, let's just say it's me and him. So me, I have movement, I have combat, I have exploration for turn 1. Then he has the same. Then we're going to turn 2, it's the same. We do the same. Then we go into turn 3, it's the same. Then we swing back to the economic phase, and this is economic phase 1. Right? And then we carry on like that. I mean, again, why these are not here and they're down there, I do not know. I do not know why they've done that. It confuses things. I mean, that's the bit that you start with. So it says you just do that. It says you keep track of the current turn using the turn marker and the turn track printed on the game board. After the economic phase, the turn marker is reset to 1, continue until a winner is determined. So we have been cycling through things, right? It's just working out which bit you're in, and when it talks about, the confusion is how it talks about this in the rule book. Whether it's just me that's confused by it or not, I don't know. But if they put that there, it's just so much simpler for me. Okay, so Tim has said, the AP's first economic phase that it resolves is economic phase 5. Now, that's just what we are about to do right now. That's where we left things. He says, so you place them, right, and this is at 1 minute 55 second mark. It says, so you place them in the movement turns before economic phase 5. And he's talking about these EVs. I've not clicked on the timestamp. He does have a timestamp, but that's what I'm talking about, surely. So, just to continue though, he adds another comment at the 53 minute 40 second mark, where I'm obviously harping on about this again. He says, I think your confusion stems from the fact that you think the movement turns are part of an economic phase, but they aren't. Okay. I mean, I did initially think they were separate, and I mean, no, I still believe them to be separate. They're not part of the economic phase, I get that. But they're part of this. Why they called it turn track? Why can we not have turn 1 and that could be round 1? Even that would be more understandable. You know, the fact that says turn 1 just confuses things. Anyway, so he carries on. The movement turns and economic phases are separate things. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So here you're starting the movement turns before economic phase 2. That must be, again, where I've got the time stamped. He places his AVs during the movement turns before economic phase 5, which will be just after completing economic phase 4. Right? Now, this is what I wasn't sure about. I looked at the rules again yesterday before I'd done this and decided that it must be after economic phase 5 that he places them. But I wasn't sure. I must admit, I was contemplating, thinking, right, because he even replied to the guy that commented already. I says, should I be placing these after economic phase 4 then? Or is it 5? So Tim said it should be after economic phase 4. So we've jumped ahead a bit, and these EVs should have been placed, and they should have had 3 movement turns, right? And he's right. When I look back on it, like I say, I was going to I thought, nah, I'm not sure that sounds right, but I was going to look back on it. And maybe the flowcharts actually got this worded better than the rulebook then for me. And I say worded better than the rulebook. I just mean it just wasn't quite doing it for me. What does it say? Before economic phase 5's movement turns, he's got, well, yeah, what does it say in the rule book? Right, wait till I finish his comment here, right? So, he says it helps to think of the game as a series of rounds, and he's got that in quotes. And yeah, I mean, rounds and turns and whatever. Although the rules don't refer to them as rounds, yeah, I agree. I wish they had done this better. They could have so easily done this better. Consisting of the following phases: bid for turn order phase, movement phase consisting of 3 turns, and then C, economic phase. Well, I mean, yeah, I suppose if you look at it that way, but that's not really how it goes, is it? I mean, the first turn would decide the player order. That just happens once throughout the game. We then have movement turns. So, I mean, to me, there's not a bid for turn order phase there. I mean, I don't agree with that, I don't think. You've then got the movement phase. Then you've got the economic phase. And within that economic phase, you have the bid for player order. It's in the middle of this phase. I mean, you do that, then you purchase units, then you place units, then you increase colonies. Then you've already decided who is that, who that is going to be. Then you move on to turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Then you come back and do economic phase 2 and do the same. Yeah, I mean, I suppose I get all that. But I mean, have I read it in the rules? Is it just me that's reading it in the rules wrong? Let's just look at how it's worded in the rule book again. I mean, I'm going to go with what he said because yeah, I believe he's right. I'm not saying I don't think he's right. It's just that I was finding it a little awkward. But let's see what it says here. Hang on. Right, and then just reading this because I just thought the way when I read what Tim had said here, his first sentence here was, I think your confusion stems from the fact that you think the movement turns are part of an economic phase. Well, I know they're different and they're slightly separated, but what does this say here? This is when you're putting the starting EVs down. Now, admittedly, it says before economic phase, but read that. Before economic phases 5's movement turns. So, it's linking them together as in, that's economic phase movement turns. I mean, I know they're different, but I mean, it's sort of worded there like it is part of the whole thing, you know? That he's saying that you think the movement turns are part of an economic phase. Well, that says there, before economic phase 5's movement turns. So, you know, you could argue that both ways, I suppose. I know they're separate. I know they're different things, right? But it is clear. Now, I read this yesterday and still came to the conclusion that this was going to happen after economic phase 5. But when you read this again, it's not. But I wish they had worded it different. I wish they had said, look, after economic phase 4, when you move on to the movement turns, put them out. I mean, it says it that. It words it this way. I mean, is it wrong? Is it telling you anything different, Grant? Not really, I suppose. So before economic phase 5's movement turns, then this is when we place the number of starting EVs, okay? And economic phase 5's movement turns, if you want to tie them all together, or if you want to say they're separate or what, but that's the way it's wording it. But before economic phase 5, there's economic phase 5's movement turns when we get to there. See, again, that's thrown there. Hold on. No, I'm still not getting that. I thought I had it, and now I'm now starting to doubt that. Before economic phase 5's movement turns. Yes, no, it is right. But that is so confusing. If this 1, 2, 3 had been here, right? Now I'm putting this dice to a 5 when we reach here, because that's when we come to economic phase 5. We've just had the 3 movement turns, and if they were here, so before that's I still feel that's poorly worded and organised. So what that is saying, and what Tim's saying is, we've already had economic phase 5's movement turns. So when I was here showing this as a 4, then maybe I should take that dice away. Maybe that's what's throwing me. I don't know. So when that was there, hang on till I bring the map back to me because it's away in the corner here. So let's rewind time a little bit to here. So what I think you're saying there now is we're about when that goes to there, we're about to move on to economic phase 5, and this is the movement turns just before it. And then this is where the EVs come in. That's terribly confusing. I mean, I really don't think they made a good job of that at all. And it's really just that track, I think. And just the way they worded things. Before economic phase 5's movement turns. Right, hang on here. When you start the game like that on turn 1. What is that? Well, that is clearly before economic phase 1. No, it's not. See, I don't see that as being clear. Where are we right now? Is this the movement turns before economic phase 1? Or are these just I suppose they must be. Because then they would have to be economic phase 0, and that's what I suppose what I was confused about. Let's think if the track was here, Grant. If the track was here, you'd be on round 1. You'd be on round 1, you'd go turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, then economic phase 1. So that would be the movement turns before economic phase 1. Yeah, okay. Right, fair enough. I'm going to go with that. So let's go back to there. That's poor in my opinion. That's really confusing. Maybe not a big deal to everybody, and probably not relevant in a lot of cases, but it's relevant here. Okay, so we're just going to go with this, and I'm starting to do my head in this. Really, it's starting to bother me a little bit. But okay, so coming back now, we've moved all our units. But they haven't done theirs, and they're not going to do theirs until we get these EV things set up. So let me find some stuff to look at about this EVs. Right, okay, let's go through this slowly and make sure we get this right. So, AP econ phase. Most of the AP econ phases are skipped, right? If this is the first econ phase, the AP is resolving. Well, again, we're not quite there yet. We're on the movement turns before economic phase 5. Let's just stick with that, right? So then they'd follow these steps in order. So before economic phase 5's movement turns. Okay, good. That's where we're at right now, right? And although we've had all our movement, we're going to move their EVs a bit. Place the number of starting EVs per expansion goals table, 13.4.1. These are placed for free. And I was jumping back just to look on page 34 at 13.4.1 expansion goals table. Remember, our map size was 4. So our goal DS colonies was 1. Our starting and minimum EVs is 2, which I'm kind of glad about because it does use the minors. So we need to, if you were playing with that, you'd need to find some other counters for them. Maximum terraforming is 1. We're still not 100% sure what this has. Move tech roll, but we'll get to that. Yeah, and just glancing by that, there's what Ramon brought up about the 20 and 30 CP. I mean, I looked at this, but that would be also something that would be different if we were using the 30. They would get an extra die roll as well. So It maybe balances out a little bit. I'll stick with the 20. Like I say, if somebody knows for sure, can point me at where it tells me about it in the rules, then fair enough. Alright, so back here. So we know we're getting 2 of them, right? So, right, and then just across the previous page here, it tells us about them. Exploration vessels. The AP is a special exploration vessel, EV, that functions differently from other ships in the game. It's a non-combat ship. It's not considered a fleet, nor is it ever part of one. It was represented on the map by a miner. And let's see, you only get 2 of these, but we are getting 2 of these EVs. I think that's what we're always going to have. I don't think we're going to get any more, so... You know, like I say, if you were playing, whether there's more of these in the expansion, possibly. It says it can move 1 hex per turn. The AP receives a number of EVs at game start for free based on map size, which is what we've got to. See expansion goals. The AP may replace lost EVs, and this costs 5 CPs. So he gets these for free to start with. If he has to replace them, it's going to cost him 5 CPs. Right, so what do we do with them? Right, so EV placement. The first EV is placed on the AP home system hex, closest to the nearest player homeworld. Right, well... Right, let's just read this out first, because I haven't revealed all the home system markers yet, because that says that's... I'm pretty sure it says it's done in the economic phase, is it not? Or is it before it? Where does it tell you? It tells you that if this is the first economic phase the AP is resolving, well, we're not quite there yet, because we're on the movement turns just before it. Reveal all AP HS markers and place colonies as described. It's kind of irrelevant, isn't it? But, well, no, because I suppose this is movement turn 1. That might matter to where they move. We need to know if these are revealed now or not. The first EV is placed in the AP home system hex, closest to the nearest player homeworld. Right, let's look at that. Right, stretching out as far as I can go there. There's our homeworld, right? It needs to go in a home system hex that is closest to that. So it's going to be one of these 2, I think, isn't it? If I start counting out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 8. That's probably 9, that one. No, I think it is 8. I think it probably reach 1, 2, 3, 4. No, it's 7 out to there, Grant. You're counting wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, in fact, it's any one of them, isn't it? They're all 7 away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, that one's 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, it's not, Grant. I think you can't count. Right, it's any one of them on the first row. Any remaining EVs are placed on a random home system hex in the same row as the first EV. In some scenarios, such as 4-player, the remaining EVs are instead placed within a random home system hex within 2 hexes of the first EV. Well, no, I don't think it's not going to stay that. Well, we're just playing a 2-player scenario, so they're not going to have these. So, yeah, one of them's going to go in one of the hexes, and the other one's going to go randomly. But I don't know how to work it out where the first one goes. Closest to the nearest player homeworld. Like I say, they're all 7 away. I mean, this isn't closer, is it? No, they're all 7 hexes away. Let's just randomise both of them then. I mean, these are going to go around exploring deep space, I think. Let's see what it maybe says in the... Does it say anything in the flowchart maybe? Before you place the first EV in the hex closest to... Yeah, it's just repeating what it says. These will move / explore in the 3 movement turns preceding the first economic phase. Yeah, I think that's where I read that and then thought, is this wrong? Important. These will move/explore in the 3 movement turns preceding the first economic phase. So that kind of confirms it there. I don't think that said that in the rule book, but it might have done. Anyway, we're sorted. We know what we're doing now. Whether we are still annoyed about the way it's all worded and set up, which we are, but anyway. Okay. So, well, I'll just randomise both of these then. So how many have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Have we got a D8? No, well, I'll probably have. Is that a D8? No, it's not. That is not either. I've just got all D10s. No, you're still not finding my grant. I think there must be some somewhere. Right, I'll roll a D10 then. And we'll go from left to right. Placing the first one, I'll just re-roll a 9 or a 10. So a 7 for the first one. Well, let's just place it out first just in case. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going in here. And then for the next one, and I'll just miss out the 7. Right, randomly, right, 8. So that's the furthest away one, isn't it? So they're both kind of together, which feels a bit like you probably wouldn't have done that yourself, would you? But had them both side by side. But well, I randomised that. I don't know what else I can do with that. Okay, so, and you can see that I've still got these revealed, but I mean, if this is the first economic phase the AP is resolving, reveal all the markers. I don't think I'm there yet. I'm still I'm on the movement turns before the phase. So if I'm wanting to be really picky and choosy. Okay, so you place them there. And then, well, this isn't going to happen. We're now going to move them, aren't we? So we need to go into the 3 movement turns before we come back to this economic phase and resolve all this. So I think these are still unrevealed then, the home system. So where does it talk about the movement of the AVs then? Let me see where that is. Yeah, I think we need to come into movement turns, which means we're really going to be looking at this flowchart, but I want to use the rulebook as best I can first, even though I've got these flowcharts. Hopefully they'll make it easier as we move on. So this is where we're at. And it's really here, but I mean, do we need to go through this? See, it might be worthwhile looking at the flowchart here. Mind you, this does do... Yeah, see, it's got step 1 here. And this is just checking in to see if there's any AP fleets threatened. Well, we don't have any AP fleets on the board, and they're not classed as fleets. Obviously, we're going to... When we do have one, we're going to have to work out what this means by it. Are they threatened? I mean, it's probably quite clear in the fact that we've got a ship within range that can move into the hex and attack them. So I think you would do this first, but there's no fleet, so then it moves on to step 2. So I think we're going to just be doing this. Again, though, I'd rather look at it in the rulebook here. So let's skip by this. It says prior to moving, the AP first determines any current threats, detrimental terrain, and sets posture. Then a destination check is performed for each fleet. See, these are not fleets. So I think I can skip down to here, okay. Again, like I've said, we are going to... destination check, exploring. Right, okay, and destination check, mining. Yeah, okay, I think this is where we need to be for now. So for movement purposes, EVs are in exploring mode or mining mode, which is independent of posture. Okay. EVs and the SCX bit, we're not using that. So EVs are the only AP ship that interacts with minerals or space wrecks. If Exploration 1 is researched, well, they get that right at the beginning, don't they? They've got that. Haven't we? Yeah. Yeah, that's something that they get right at the beginning, so I don't know why it's even asking that. But anyway, maybe there's a way that they can't have it. So, if Exploration 1 is researched, regardless of mode, the exploration vessel reveals an adjacent unexplored deep space marker as if it was equipped with Exploration 1. Okay. The marker is flipped over for all players to see and may be eliminated as per exploration technology. Okay. Like if we flip over a danger, it just gets removed. If deep space doomsday machines are used, reveal the DM, but does not act. Right, no, we're not playing with them though. Okay. If multiple adjacent unexplored deep space markers are available, the destination check dictates the preferred marker to be explored, exploring the furthest marker from AP home system or randomly on ties if no preference is given. The Exploration 1 is not researched, no exploration tech action occurs, Navy is permitted instead to enter an unexplored deep space hex as per certain destination checks below. I don't know why it can't be already have that. I mean, I did do that right, didn't I? Right, I can see where they might not have it. Because it says, this is the setup, this is where I've done this. This is the AP setup here. And it says that if the AP is listed gold DS colony, see expansion goals table 13.4.1 is not 0, then we'd purchase it. So you can see that if we were only playing with a map size of 2 or less than 2, that would be 0, and they wouldn't bother about exploration. They wouldn't be doing this. They wouldn't be going into deep space. I'm assuming. Right, okay, good. So, and then these are the steps to go through. I mean, we should be able to... I'll go through these the first time, and then I'll have to read through them myself when I'm going through it the second time, probably. So, destination check if exploring. So, this is the decide. Well, I'm assuming we're going in order here. We've got minor 1 and minor 2, right? So, we're looking at minor 1. Now, he can explore here or here. And obviously minor 2 could explore here or here. It's a bit of a shame that they're stuck together, but I mean, I did just randomise that. Yeah, I don't. First TV is placed in the APHS hex closest to the nearest player homeworld. And hang on here. It does say player homeworld. That is our base, isn't it? It's not just player colony. Or does it consider that? Does that mean one of our colonies? HS is home system. It doesn't say. I mean, home HW is home world, isn't it? Yeah, I suppose what I'm thinking here is, would it be, because where's our nearest colony? See, this is probably our nearest colony, so it'd probably put one of them that's closest to that. I mean, or even this one's closer than what our home world does. But I mean, it does specifically say home world, HW. Just looking on, just to see if I can find the meaning of HW. Home system. A group of hexes where the home world, see 2.7. I mean, it doesn't say it as HW there, but there's home world. This is in the base rules. Home world represents player home planet. Each player starts with one home world. Except as noted, rules that apply to colonies also apply to home worlds. Yeah, it's not a colony, is it? Okay, I'm just going to stick with that then, I suppose. I did randomise that, I don't, just the way it worked out. Right, so we're looking at minor 1 first. I'm just looking over at the destination check here for exploring. So step 1 is find deep space planets. If AP has fewer deep space colonies than goal deep space colonies, remember we're wanting 1, aren't we? It's only 1 we're looking for. Goal deep space colonies for us are 1. Prefer using exploration tech on markers closest to AP home system, then move to maximum adjacency to unexplored deep space markers that are closest to AP home system randomly on ties, which could include remaining stationary. Right, then step 2 is adjacent to minerals / space wreck. If with or adjacent to unclaimed, switch to mining mode. Step 3, retreat from enemy home system. If adjacent to enemy home system, move closer to a friendly home system. And step 4, find a path to player. If AP has deep space colonies greater than or equal to gold deep space colonies, move to maximum adjacency to unexplored, which could include remaining stationary. Yeah, okay. Right. Yeah, maybe I'm just looking at that a bit too much. They're going to explore, aren't they? So, yeah, let's explore first and then see if we can find. I think after the exploration, it might determine where they move, or whether they change into mining mode or that. So, minor 1. I mean, should we be sensible here and pick? No, I'm going to stick by the randomization. I mean, these are both the same. So I'm going to say this is odd, this is even. I'm just going to roll this off camera. I've rolled odd, which is probably the one you would say, well, surely they would explore this one because this one's adjacent to these two, but I don't know. Right, so, and again, I think the fact they're home worlds system markers or home system markers are still face down, I don't think that's a problem actually, when I think about it now. So, and remember, this is turn 1, and we've already had turn 1, 2 and 3, but imagine we've had our turn 1 and it's the aim to go now. So he's exploring here, we get 10 minerals, okay, that's a good start for him. Now, so I think he has to go and tow that, doesn't he? Yeah. So, destination check. Right, I think after we've randomized, worked out which we're exploring, we then look at these steps. I think that's what it should be, shouldn't it? We're now looking to see, is this a deep space planet? Is it minerals? Is it an enemy? Or this one I'm not quite sure about, I quite grasp, but I'll look more into that. So it's adjacent to minerals / space wreck. So if with or adjacent to unclaimed deep space minerals / space wreck, switch to mining mode, right? So then mining mode's just here. So it says if it's adjacent to minerals / space wreck, they switch to mining mode from resolving a destination check, which is what's done. Move into the adjacent deep space mineral space wreck hex. It is now towing for future moves. If multiple adjacent are available, it selects the one furthest from its home system. And then, just to look at this before rather than come back to this, when it's towing, so turn 2, it'll tow mineral space wreck to the nearest colony or homeworld as a normal miner. See, okay, well we are right, because I was just about to say there, well, how do we know? Because they're all face down. So it says, If AP home system markers are still face down, it will tow to the nearest face down AP home system marker and drop off there. Once the payload has been dropped off, the AV will re-enter exploring mode. So it's just going to drop it off, and I guess it just gets to cheat that one into it's, yeah, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's good. So I mean, basically it would just do what we would do. Well, in a cheaty kind of way, because this is exploring. This is like would be what we've got as our cruiser, but we wouldn't then be able to move our cruiser in there and gather up the minerals. We'd have to have, we would more than likely have our miner beside us though. So that's going to move in there on turn 1 and grab that minerals. Right, we can move on now. So he's going to explore one of these two. Odd even. Again, I'll just roll this off camera. That's odd as well. So he's going to explore the one on the left here. And we get, oh, a bit zoomed in there, I'm gonna. Right, warp points we're not using, so that just gets removed. That gets removed. Right, so what happens to him now then? So he's not found a deep space planet. He's not adjacent to minerals. He doesn't need to retreat. So it says find path to player. If AP has DS colonies greater than or equal to gold DS colonies. Well, it's not. Oh, right, okay, no, that's the first step, sorry. That is the first step, it's find deep space colonies, deep space planets. If EB has fewer deep space colonies than goal deep space colonies, which it does, our goal is 1, it's not got any, prefer using exploration tech on markers closest to AP home system. Then move to maximise adjacency to unexplored deep space markers that are closest to the AP home system, randomly on ties, which could include remaining stationary, right? And what it just means is it's just going to move in this hex, isn't it? It's going to move in here, and then it's got the chance. It's what we would do again. We would just do that. So we would move in there, then we can explore here, here, or here. He can explore, although he's picked up minerals, he's going to drop back with the minerals. And that's fine. Right, okay, that's turn 1. That's only 2 ships they've got. So let's reset them. Move on to turn 2. I can't stretch up there. Right, let's assume we're on. No, let's not. Let's not assume Grant, because he get called away or anything, then things will go wrong. Right, so I moved the marker on to turn 2. Right, again, let's assume we moved our stuff about, because I've done that already. And none of this would have altered things for me, I don't believe. And I don't think it would affect then the fact that we've already moved. So turn 2. So the one that's towing minerals is just going to head back. So if they're still face down, it will tow in the nearest face down and drop off there. Right, so it can. I mean, again, I sort of feel like it's a bit silly, but I mean, it can go to either one of the two. I mean, clearly, if you were planning to sell, you go to there, because then you're adjacent to that. I suppose I should do this, Grant. It's not. It'll tow in the nearest face down, drop off. It doesn't say to randomise, but I mean, there is 2 options here. Yeah, let's use common sense, Grant, okay? No, Grant doesn't like doing that. Right, so it's going to move into there and in fact drop this off on turn 2, right? Yeah, I think I should step in there where it's quite simple that going here doesn't make as much sense as going there. Because it's what you would do yourself, and it's not. Yeah. Okay, so he's going to explore. He's got 3 options. Now, hold on. Was there one that was furthest away? Because these are further away than this. No, it's one to do closer. So prefer using exploration tech on markers closest to the AP home system. Then move to maximum adjacency to unexplored that are closest to the AP home system. Right, okay, so in actual fact, it's going to explore this one, isn't it? Because this is 1 away from the home system and these are 2 away. So, okay, so he's going to explore there. On turn 2. We get asteroids, right, that can go. So it goes in there. Now what does he do then? Does he move or does he not? I mean, I think myself I would not move because you're still adjacent to 2 and he doesn't want to move into one of them. I don't think, I never read anywhere, but I mean it seems daft. Again, I wouldn't be doing it, but it says then move to maximise adjacency to unexplored deep space markers. Well, actually, that would mean moving into here, and it's adjacent to the 3. But again, it's slightly daft. Well, that is specifically saying that it moves in to maximise adjacency. So let's do that then. It's probably a bit daft because he's going to explore there. Well, I'm going to do them in that order. Minor 1, minor 2. It might have worked out that it wouldn't have been the best order to do these, but I'll just stick by that, I think. It doesn't really tell me which one I'm meant to do first, I don't think. Okay. That's turn 2. So just quickly, just going to stretch up, get turn 3. Again, let's assume moved or turn 3. So they are going to, so minor 1 is going to explore here. So, let's see what he gets. More asteroids. Right, and he's also then going to move into the asteroids, isn't he? Yeah. Right, and then minor 2. And remember, when he dropped off his minerals, he then moves back into exploring mode. So yeah, I can see that. That's pretty straightforward, and it's moving along fine. So this has got a choice of this or this to explore. So this is odd, this is even. You know, go off camera. We've got even this time. So it's going to be this one. More asteroids. Right, lots of asteroids out here. And he will move in to maximise. He's now adjacent to 4, which makes sense, doesn't it? Right, so now they're actually getting quite close to us. If adjacent to enemy home system, move closer to a friendly home system. That's step 3, mind you. I think you do these in order. Hang on, what does that say there? Multiple adjacent unexplored deep space markers available. The destination check dictates. Right, I've maybe jumped on by a bit there. Let me read this. Right, hang on, let me just read this out. Right, it's on 2 pages, so I don't want to look at the rulebook here. So, this is exploration before move-in. And then the last sentence sort of says, if multiple adjacent unexplored deep space markers are available, the destination check dictates the preferred marker to be explored. And this I can come across now. This destination check is this, so it goes through these steps. It says exploring the further marker from AP home system or randomly unties if no preference is given. Well, there was a preference given there, wasn't there? This says prefer using exploration tech and markers closest to the home system, and then move in to maximise adjacency that are closest to the home system. So I think that's fine. But I think you do these in order. If you can't do that, thing is, if you could be adjacent to the enemy home system, and would you do this still? Prefers this person. Yeah. I think you do these in order. It doesn't really state there, but I'm pretty sure that you do these in order. I'm sure further on in the rules it says that you carry out these in that order. Well, no, that's not really the case, Grant. This isn't an order. You're either adjacent to minerals or you're towing, aren't you? So maybe if I was adjacent to an enemy home system and it was time to move, maybe I would use this step instead and retreat closer. Okay. Well, if any have any thoughts on that, let me know. Right, okay, but I do think that's over now. They never found any planets. Remember, they're only wanting to colonise, well, I say colonise, they're only wanting to find one deep space planet, one barren planet out there in deep space. And then they're happy, I think. Well, whether they need to colonise it to be happy, possibly. So that's movement turn 3. We moved all our stuff. I can't remember what we've done, but so let's now move on to economic phase 5. Right? Now this is where that they start doing stuff with their economics. And we're going to reveal all them. However, we've got our economic phase first. We always get ours first. Doesn't matter about turn order. Oh, that's something that's going to come into it this time now, isn't it? So let me do this and then we'll get this finished off and I'll go and take the dogs out for a walk, I think. And then I'll be able to get another part after that. Right, so... right, let's deal with our side of things first. So we've got, looks like we've gathered 5 minerals here. So let's bring that down. Right, what have we got? Oops. We have 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And then 43, 46, 47. That's what I'm seeing. So economic phase 5, nothing carried over. Just double check here again. 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 43, 46, 47 is what I'm counting. So 47. 5 minerals. Put that away. Pipelines. Right, we're showing 5 there. Is that right? I think it probably is. Right, it's just they're just over this side, aren't they? So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so it's 5, so I shouldn't have to come back and check that again. Well, unless, of course, we make an alteration to that. So it's another 5 there. Okay, so total there is 47 and 10, 57. Our maintenance, well, we've got a cruiser this time, but we lost our scout, didn't we? So just looking out there, we've got 1 cruiser, which is 2 maintenance, because it's got 2 hull size, and that's it. So it's just 2. Right, turn order bid. Right, here we go. I'm not so sure if I care about going first here. Well, I don't know. They're going to do something different now, aren't they? Well, turn order bid. Let me see. It's in the economic phase. It says this abstractly represents resources, supplies, intelligence, and capital spent to speed production schedules, etc. Again, I'm just reading this from the base rules. Enter a number of CPs as a bid on your production sheet. The highest bid will earn the privilege of determining the player order for the next turn. Of determining the player order for the next turn. Yeah, so you could force your opponent to go first if that was a bad thing for them. This bid is optional. You may bid 0, and likewise there's no upper limit except the total number of CPs you have available. Winner of this bid chooses which player will go first, with the turn order rotating clockwise round the table after that. Well, there's only me and him, so it's either him or us, isn't it? This order stays in effect until the next economic phase. Regardless of who wins the bid, all players subtract their bid from their available CPs. So I could put 10 points down and he could put 15, but I still lose 10. In the event of a tie, even a tie where all players bid 0, the player who was first in player order this turn among the tied players wins the bid. The player who was first in player order this turn. Yeah, so if we do bid 0 each, then I'm still going to go first. Bids are revealed after the economic phase. So bids are revealed after the economic phase. Okay, well that sort of makes Tim's comment a little clearer, I suppose, because it's not until after the economic phase that they kick in. So I suppose the way Tim's laid that out is correct in a sort of way that still makes me think they should have done a better. They could have done a better job of that. So because he said you bid for player order. Well, it's not, that wouldn't be step one. Step one would be, you reveal whose turn it is, and then you would do movement turns, then you go back to the economic phase, I think. So the first turn of a game, the players randomly determine turn order. Okay. And then so for the bot then, what does he do? Right, I suppose I should have a look at this. It's maybe not too relevant just now, but we need to know how it works. So this is on page 38, bid for turn order. Turn order bid occurs if either the AP fleet, right, remember there's no AP fleet yet, EV, well we do have them, colonies, or home system are threatened. If none of the above are threatened, make a paranoia check. On a fail, the AP bids anyway. Otherwise, the AP bids 0. The CP bid is based on the lowest of 2d10 rolls. However, the dice may explode, such that larger values are possible. Perform the following. Right. Well, first of all, we need to be looking at making sure we're going to have to work this one out anyway. Find out about what classes is us threatening something. Because admittedly they've got exploration vessels out there, which I'm guessing have no combat value. If we move our cruiser into one of the hexes, then I'm assuming we just destroy it. So they want to be careful about that. And if it's threatened, clearly they want to move first to move away from that threat. It sort of makes sense. But it might not matter just now. But so right, I'm gonna check to see what threatened means, or what's required for it to be threatened. But however, I don't think they are going to be threatened. So if none of the above are threatened, you make a paranoia check. Right, now I've got the only bit that I got of that chart was that photo that somebody sent, that somebody posted. That's this. This is the only thing I can use for this. So I'm going to lay this off to the side. Does it have any relevant information here? Raised by 1 each time AP loses a colony. Player initiated battle occurs. AP lost a battle. Paranoia was only reduced by resetting, or reduced by 1 step when these things happen. Morale, if the AP has any damaged or destroyed ships, that is after the first round, calculate and check morale. Morale is resets to 1 and then modified. Right, morale, right. I guess we'll find out a bit more about that. There's a wee table about the expansion goals. That's what, yeah, we've got map size 4, so that's what they've got. Strategy, we've not come into that yet. So I think, well, where does it start? Does it just start down at 1? Must do, yeah. Right, so I think there should be a marker on this on 1. I'm just going to set that aside just now and put something on that. It says it's 1. That's too big, Grant. Right. I've got it down at 1 there. Okay, let's. We're at an hour now. What is it I'm trying to do here? Where am I at? We're bidding for turn order, aren't we? Well, I'm looking at that. We're not actually at that step yet. But we're about to be, aren't we? Okay, give me a minute. Okay, what I think I'm going to do, I know it's a bit crappy after starting to discuss all this and then leave it. I'm at an hour and I'm just a little bit. I need to sort of take a break just now anyway. I'm as well doing some other things. So it's probably a better time just to leave it there. So basically, when I finished part 4, this was sitting like that. So it's sitting like this for part 5 as well. But we have brought in, this is the stuff we should have done as well. So I'll come back at part 6 and we'll work out what threatened means, work out if these are threatened, which I don't think they are. Then if they're not threatened, we'll do this paranoia check to see, because I think I should still be doing that, and if whether they bid for CPs to go first or not, and will be based on that roll. I'm guessing their paranoia is low, so it might not be that they do bid. But I can't see anything jumping out at me there that talks about what threatened means, but it must be in here, because I did read it before as well. So I'll need to look that out in the rules and find out where I need to be reading. So I'll be back later to carry on with this. Okay, cheers.